Welcome back. We have international meditation teacher and coach, Daniella D'Amore, and the topic we'll be discussing is the importance of a balanced lifestyle through spiritual growth. Welcome, Daniella.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Why is spirituality important for a balanced life?
Spirituality is just as vital in our life as it is to understand our physical body. Right? So if we focus on our physical body and don't focus on our spiritual life, then we don't have a greater sense of purpose in our life. Right? I feel that it's important to balance the physical, the emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies in order to align ourselves to perfect health and well-being, and therefore create a much more healthier and happier lifestyle. It's important to balance all four bodies, and yet most people will focus on the physical body or focus on the emotional body and even the mental body, and the spiritual body tends to sort of be left behind. And then so they may get to a place of healing, but there's still something lacking. Or they may achieve a lot in their life, but they still feel a sense of emptiness. Or they may have the most amazing relationships in their life, but there's something meaningful still missing. Like there's a sense of, okay, what's missing? And to me, what's missing is the spirituality. Whatever that is for you, because spirituality is such a broad term, really. It can mean anything for lots of people. I have friends who go surfing every morning, and they say that's their spirituality, because when they're out on the ocean, they feel one with the sea. That's beautiful. It's kind of like a meditation and spirituality and prayer all at once. Well, that's great, you know, but they're very conscious of that.
Daniella, what's your personal journey in discovering spirituality for a balanced life?
Well, can I say I've had many journeys that really emphasize the importance of spirituality. But as a young girl, starting out in life, and when I became a woman, I had a lot of issues, health issues with my monthly cycle. And we know today it's called endometriosis, but back then it wasn't diagnosed like that. And it was, very uncomfortable, and I was just given medicine to take. Well, in my feeling, my sense was, no, this is not right. This is supposed to be natural. So why am I taking medicine? No. So I seeked out alternative ways to heal myself through this. And so I did go to a naturopath, I went to acupuncturist, and I started meditation. And over the next few years, I just found that it's, I had good months and I had bad months, but there wasn't that consistency anymore of the uncomfortable feeling. And about 7 years later, I was able to have cycles with no pain, because I chose a more spiritual way of dealing with it. But at the same time, I was healing my physical body, sure, but there was a lot of emotional stuff connected to that as well. So in the process of getting that healing through various channels, my emotional body and mental body also started to change. And I became a big advocate for meditation. Meditation became part of my everyday life, and just healthier choices, health and various things that accompany that. And I found that, as I said, about 7 years later, I started to have cycles that were not so painful. And that just improved as I got older and older. And then ultimately, the good thing about that is when I went through menopause as well, it just happened. Like there was no side effects or anything. And I know that that was based on the fact that I took care of myself on a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level, right? I started to embrace my whole self as a woman, having this human experience. And of course, I saw the results of that, in due course. And to make that story come full circle, I lived in the United States for a number of years, and during that time I was very honoured to be able to spend time with Native people there in mostly Arizona, New Mexico and South Dakota. And having spent time with the Native women there, I realised that a lot of them did not have the same issues around cycles, monthly cycles, as Western women do. So I explored that a little bit and asked them, various questions. And what I realized was it's something that's actually celebrated. When a young girl becomes a woman, there's a whole ceremony and it's celebrated, and the whole tribe celebrates. Everybody comes out and celebrates it. So it's something that's really embraced because now she can create life, right? So these Native women already start their cycle in a celebratory type way. It's not a stressful thing. And then they maintain spirituality throughout their whole life. They do women's circles and various things, women's gathering, but spirituality is very much a part of their culture, all of the tribes. So it's something that is part of their upbringing. What I found was that they just didn't stress about things the way we did, and there was no expectation, if you will, for them to be anything other than the beautiful women that they are. Whereas I feel in our society, women feel they have to step into a different role, to compete with men sometimes. So we neglect our femininity, whereas they embrace their femininity and their feminine power. And it's a beautiful thing. And they all supported each other through that. So what that helped me realize was that what I was feeling as a young girl really had some substance. Why was I thinking that? I don't know where that came from. I just knew that it was natural for women to be like this and to find the supportive system. So that was really confirming and very affirming as well, because it affirmed how powerful it is for us to embrace who we are. We as women in the Western world, our own power, our own femininity. And of course for men to embrace their own masculinity, who they are. And we play specific roles in that power. So when we can embrace that, we're much more powerful. And our bodies will reflect that, right? But in order to embrace that, there has to be that spiritual side, that meaningful, purposeful, that part of ourselves that we feel is missing. No, it's right here. We've just got to embrace it.
Daniella, that was a great story.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you.
Do you have any advice for our viewers to have a balanced life spiritually?
Well, my advice would be to just listen to their inner self, because that's where our spiritual body resides, somewhere inside of us. Most people will say it's in your heart, but it can be anywhere. It can be in your toe. I don't know where you feel, whatever you feel. But think about how you feel when you see a sunrise or a sunset. There's something magical about that, and we can feel that magic within us. It makes us stop and look at it and go, wow. Or when a rainbow appears, and we all want the rainbow to be magic, magical, and we have a sense of that. Well, that's our spiritual body responding to that. So it's already happening. It's just a matter of making yourself more conscious of how you feel in that moment and knowing that you have those feelings throughout the day and they're important. They're an important element to who you are. And then to seek it out more. So how can you get that feeling more and more? Through what? Through whatever makes you happy, really. Whatever you do that makes you happy, whatever hobby, or maybe there's people, maybe there's places, things that you like to do that makes you feel happy inside, do more of that. That's all. Because that's called loving yourself. And the more and more you love yourself, the more and more spirituality you're living in your life.
Thank you, Daniella. That was such valuable information. If you'd like to know more about Daniella and how to have a more balanced lifestyle through spiritual growth, please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And we're going to say bye-bye for now, and we'll see you next week. Stay tuned.